relax, enjoy it.
Alex Harris for Seconds Out. I'm joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, a bit more respect between the two fighters this time around.
Yeah, I think the first time around it was almost like a street thing. You know, it was like bad blood, and he said this, and you talking about my family, but now there's all of that, but there's more of an importance to the heavyweight division. This fight, you know, both guys before weren't really seen as probably serious heavyweight contenders, world championship contenders at the time, and now they very much are. So a lot on the line, obviously with David Haye's influence as well. I think he'll be trying to keep Derek focused and lose that wild side, and I think it's going to be a great fight. You know, obviously the first fight was one of the best fights I've ever seen. I think everyone shares that, and I think round 13 will be exactly the same. They're not going to change, are they? They're not going to start boxing off the back foot or holding or running. They're just going to go at it, but this time probably fitter and with even more punch output.
This fight's been spoken about for a while. There was a bit of talk about it might be Ortiz, it might be Brazil. Why did it take so long to get made?
Just because of the two people and the characters. You know, a lot of games. All right, leave it. We'll fight someone else. Right then, we'll fight someone else as well. But it's difficult because you look at it and you say, guys, this is the fight. You know, I just had an interview there where a guy said, well, on my social site, you know, more people wanted Ortiz. I said, yeah, that's your boxing hardcore fan site, and I understand that. But this fight does twice as many buys as the Ortiz fight, and to the British public, this fight is much bigger than the Ortiz fight. So it's about understanding the opportunity for these guys. It's a big risk for Dillian because he's on the verge of a world title shot, but he believes he can win the fight, and it's a great fight, and they get to do it again on December 22nd.
Now the fight, as you said, is on December 22nd, same night as another card up in Manchester. Yeah. Both pay-per-view shows. Was there any decision behind maybe not making it a pay-per-view show for that reason? So close?
No, it has to be a pay-per-view show because they wouldn't do the fight otherwise, because they want a load of money. Ideally we would have gone on December 15th. That would have been our perfect day, but there was no venues available, and certainly wasn't the O2, which is where we want to stage this fight. So we had to weigh up going against Warrington Frampton, which we don't have a problem with. It's not ideal, but you know, we don't see that fight as a major threat. It's two different markets, those two fights. Warrington Frampton is very much a fight for the boxing community who know who they are. Chisora Whyte is just a huge fight for the British public. So, you know, it's not ideal, and in an ideal situation we would have avoided it, but it's something that we had to do, and we made the decision to go with it.
Now, after the first fight, Don Charles said in a press conference today that he thought the fair result would have been a draw. But the winner for this fight, because it was so close after the first time, is the natural progression the fight with AJ?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chisora's not really in the mindset of an AJ opponent yet, but him and Haye believe that if they can knock White out, they put themselves in that frame. Maybe. I don't see it yet, but after the fight, who knows? But certainly Dillian Whyte, you know, if Wilder doesn't want the fight, Dillian Whyte is the front runner. And if he wins on 22nd, I think, you know, he could well be the opponent for April 13th.
Now, quickly, we're 9 days away from Usyk Bellew. How is Bellew looking?
Great. Confident, fitter than ever, happy. I just can't wait for the fight. I think it's the fight of 2018. I think that as a fan, I'm so excited about that fight because I just don't know what's going to happen. You know, is Usyk as good as people say he is? Probably. I can't wait to watch Usyk up close. Can Bellew trade with him? Can Bellew hurt him? All these questions that will be answered next weekend in Manchester. But it's just a brilliant fight, and you know, the first ever 4-belt unification fight in British boxing history. It's a joy to put it on.
Now it was announced that Joe Cordina picked up an injury and replaced by the Doncaster De La Hoya, Dave Allen. Is there any sort of opponent?
Yeah, we're looking for him at the moment. We want to step up from the last guy. Dave's learning and improving, so we want to make sure he continues to do that before he takes that big gamble. So we need to find a guy with a good winning record. Just going to ask him a few questions and hopefully get that locked off in the next few days.
And after the talk in Newcastle, there was a bit of talk between Josh Buatsi and Jose Alberto, obviously after Buatsi's demolition, should we say, Tony Avalon. Has there been any more talks?
Bits and pieces. We went to Jose's team. I don't think it's a fight they're interested in at the moment, but Buatsi will be on this card actually on December 22nd. So looking for a big fight for him and time for him to be stepped up now.
I saw a tweet this week, you know, the boxing community is like, talk about the zone maybe going for Gennady Golovkin. Is there anything you can tell us about
Yeah, it's an
that?
obvious attack for us. Obviously, you know, with Matchroom, with Danny Jacobs and Demetrius Andrade and Canelo's with DAZN, all those belts are hold up with us. So I think Gennady would be in a great place with DAZN. There's some great fights out there for him. Obviously the Canelo fight, obviously Andrade if he wants that, the Jacobs rematch, and even Callum Smith. Now that's a fight I really like, the Callum Smith-Gennady Golovkin fight at Anfield. So we're speaking to Tom Loeffler, and Tom Loeffler's speaking to John Skipper as well, and you know, hopefully we can bring him to the platform.
I want to speak to you quickly about that date at Anfield. I think May is
Yes.
sort of the date going around, month going around at the moment. Obviously, we saw a couple of weeks ago John Ryder beat Andrei Sorokin at the Copperbox Arena. Would you say that Ryder could be in with Charlotte?
Well, he's just won a final eliminator, so he's going to be mandatory now. So it just depends when that mandatory is called. So you know, ultimately, I think Callum's certainly going to be allowed a voluntary defence. So that'll be next, and then John Ryder will probably be called in as a mandatory.
Well, Eddie, thank you very much for talking.
Cheers,
to
good to see you.
SecondsOut.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.